VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, live with you downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Wednesdays are always loaded to the gills in 15 minutes. Former NFL MVP Rich Gannon on the program. We'll get his thoughts on Anthony Richardson, the benching. Can you coach accuracy? Can you get better in that department? Sal Palantonio on the program. Mike Palm stops by today as well. Matt Euman's on the show. And by the way, as a reminder, you can watch the show on the new VSiN app, the VSiN Watch app. It makes it easy to watch or listen to VSiN anywhere, anytime. And for a limited time only, you can watch it for free. All you have to do is visit the Apple app or Google Play Store now to download the VSiN Watch app. Plus, there is a World Series game tonight. How you doing?
Great. Good to see you. This has juice. Like Mad Dog said yesterday, we have some drama here. If Cole can get it done today,
I think he will.
I agree. You know, the rumors that he could go as long as he wants here. They'd be the first team to be down 3-0 in the World Series and force a sixth game. It's fascinating that Roberts is the manager, and he was part of what happened with Boston in 2004 and the comeback. I wonder what he's saying to the team here before the game, and if they happen to lose.
I love that angle.
Yeah, isn't that something?
I kind of want him to sweat this out on the other side.
Right, after what he's done. Yes, you have the Freeman angle, which we'll never see again, what he's doing, hitting a home run every game. Can Ohtani and Judge get going? And, the last two games have been bad, but maybe they found something. The bats finally woke up. Vasgersian was right. If one guy doesn't have it, the whole thing blows up, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm rooting for a Yankees win and some drama here and send it back to L.A. Friday night.
You kind of got the sense right away in that game that the Yankees bats were going to get it going, right? Those relievers were in trouble almost every inning right out of the gates. And that quick 2-0 lead that they were staked to by Freddie Freeman's, how did he hit that? How did he pull that? That's an outside pitch. He's not supposed to pull that, and he did, and he yanked it over the fence on a line drive. I guess that's how dialed in he is right now. That pitch is almost impossible to pull the other way.
That's baseball, Susan, right? Hey, he's in a 1-for-16 slump. Now he's Babe Ruth. And Muncy in the NLCS had, 12 straight at-bats reaching?
Yeah.
At base. Now he's 0 of 18 with 11 strikeouts.
Think about that.
It doesn't make any sense what's going on here.
No, that's exactly right. Also, Freeman can become the sixth player in history to homer in 5 straight games. Daniel Murphy in 2015 did it. Remember that?
I didn't remember it was that long.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So if he hits another one, he would tie Reggie, Utley, and Springer for most home runs in a World Series. Those guys have 5, and then you mentioned the Murphy with the playoffs, and you want to talk about unbreakable sports records. Who's going to hit a home run in 7 straight World Series games? I mean, that's something that'll never happen. So what Freeman's done up to this point. So, but it all starts with Cole. And I know you made a bet before the show, and you'll talk about the number here, but great stuff from MLB Network. Cole facing opponents the second time in a series, 4-1 with a 1.83 ERA, a 45-8 strikeout to walk ratio, and if he's supposed to go 90 pitches and you're our guy and let's go, season comes down to you and we're not going to the pen. Let's right. Go with the I don't have a problem with over the outs and over the strikeouts here and get it done.
Those are the reports today, right? Local radio, thanks to Dell, listening to WFAN, getting back to us today, saying that they're talking about pushing him to 100 pitches if they can do it, right? They want him to go 100 pitches tonight. So the talk was after Game 1, why'd you take Cole out so early? He was that effective. And this is kind of this is the opposite of the way it's supposed to go the second time around, right? Isn't it typically like the batters have seen the pitcher once already, they see him a second time, they're going to be able to adjust and get to him? Cole is actually... He's flipped it now and put the universe on its head upside down here because he's tremendous, as you just said, the second time around. So for those of you, if you have Circa where you live, their outs prop is now 16. Overs minus 115. I played that right before the show at over 15.5 minus 115. They moved it a little bit. Every other spot has 16.5. Caesars Hill has 17.5 tonight. So, right, based on history here, how good he was in Game 1, how good he is in game 2 the second time around when he sees the same team in the same series, and the talk of him going maybe 100 pitches. Oh, by the way, this gets lost because it was a bullpen game for the Dodgers. Yankees used more pitchers yesterday because there was Roberts had no reason. Once it went sideways, he's like, oh, I'm not going to burn any more my guys. They just have to suck it up. And if we lose 27-4, so be it. And I thought that was the right game plan. The game was over with. He just punted eventually. So I thought that was smart by him.
Yes, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, remember, the Dodgers were $3 to have the most stolen bases in this series. The Yankees have 9. And what they're doing, they might set a record.
They had 5 last night.
Yeah, right. And then finally the bottom of the order came alive. Again, Boone's going to move Chisholm up in the lineup too, and then Wells maybe found something as he hit a home run and had a double. But, there's some good props. We can't bet at DraftKings, but there is a prop where there'll be a home run in the first 3 innings. Yes, it's $1.60. So I know it was a rough first inning for Cole in game 1, and then he settled down. Ohtani almost took him deep, and Freeman had the triple. I feel good about Cole, and I don't know what to think about Flaherty. We know still Judge can't do anything, but I would think that the Yankees now can get to Flaherty and do enough, and the Yankees win this game, and we're talking about a Game 6 on Friday.
Yep. By the way, Freddie Freeman versus Garrett Cole in his career, .348 batting average, 5 extra base hits. And as for Flaherty, 4 starts so far in the postseason this year. Only 1 has been on 4 days rest. That was the game against the Mets when he allowed 8 earned runs in 3 innings and 12 base runners overall. Did not go well for him in that game. And the crowd is going to be completely, as wacky as that was last night, they're going to still be juiced up to the gills here for this game. How about the guy? I love the still shot of social media that took off. The guy, one of the guys in that area, in the vicinity of the 2 jokers who stole the ball from Betts.
Jokers.
He's got the sliding glove on.
Sliding mitt.
Yeah.
Like he's playing. That is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. That's the craziest. My friend went to Lambeau Field once to see a Packers game. There was a guy wearing a Nixon mask. I mean, it's just stuff. Why would you go as a fan between? I've never seen a trio like that. The one guy has got the sunglasses on at night, Corey Hart, and he's doing this stuff about, hey, it's our territory, right?
Yeah.
Betts comes into our territory, right? And then the other guy just ripping in his glove and trying to get the ball out and laughing and then checking his phone about, hey, everyone's texting me. And then you got sliding mitt guy to the right of him. And they're all banned, like Joe's fruit stand. But it's crazy what happened with those guys or what they're doing and total animals.
So it's always been like a conversation, right? If you're past a certain age, as, are you an adult at this point? And you go to a baseball game, is it okay to bring a mitt? I always said no. You can't bring a mitt.
If you got a kid, I think.
But that changes it, right? If you have a kid, then it's fine. But if you go with a group of buddies and you wear if you have a mitt to catch a foul ball, I always thought, come on, knock it off. Yeah, you're not in high school anymore or below that. But the sliding mitt, this is all new. This is a brand new thing.
Yeah, and sunglasses and everything.
I kind of have to respect the guy. That's a whole new level right there.
Well, the whole thing about doing this with your hand. Hey, it's ours. It's our territory. We're good. He came in. We're fine, right? And then the heave-ho. But it's like, stay out of the way, though. Like the Dodger fan coming over and stealing the home run. And then, okay, well, we got to go pack up, son. That's it. I think some of this stuff is interesting, though, with the Ohtani's now minus 450, no stolen base. I mean, so you have that. Judge actually got one. That paid 9-1. And then what do you want to do with the walks and hits and maybe extra bases? Now, hits, runs, RBIs, he lost last night. Stanton has gone over that 10 of the last 13. So can he get over 1.5? Ohtani's 2.5. After the slump he's in and the injury?
And after the injury?
Now, I guess he could walk, maybe get a single, funky, but that's a big ask to me. And now Judge is down to 140 to have a walk as well. So he's also plus 155 not to have a hit. I think these are so interesting with the menus
so do I.
All the
I would
stuff
actually,
that's offered, yes.
Because, it appears as if Ohtani is still suffering from the injury, right? And if you've been...
He's not himself.
Right. I'm not very familiar with same-game parlays. I try to tinker, and they let me parlay some things, and other things they don't, so I'm like, I tap out once in a while. But if you've been able to do like a same-game parlay basically fading Ohtani, you're doing pretty well. And why would you, if you're doing it right now, if you've done it in games 3 and 4, why would you not do it again tonight? Because I think there's something clearly wrong with the guy. after that injury.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to go no stolen base and under the 2.5, what hits, runs, and RBIs you said, okay. By the way, his at-bat last night, and they had, what was it, the 5th inning, I think? When they made it like 5-4,
yes.
and it coming
yes.
to the top of the order. I think it was that at-bat. He had no chance, and he's stepping into the bucket, and that was a really, really awful at-bat from Ohtani. And I don't know, just watching him, it didn't look right.
No.
He's closing his eyes. He's putting his right foot's way out of the box. I'm like, come on, pal. I mean, it's textbook what not to do at the plate.
I don't think it's going to happen. And I think this is how these guys are going to end the season, the two of them. I mean, it's a 24 at-bat homerless streak for Judge and 25 for Ohtani. And then what are we? We're 2 of 15. He's 2 of 15 with no home runs. So,
if he doesn't homer tonight, it'll be the longest stretch since late May without a home run.
Yeah. And people have been on social media showing their tickets. They've been parlaying the no on those guys. Again, the prices are outrageous. As bad as he's been, how is Judge plus 220 to hit a home run?
Oh, that's a good play then, right? So just parlay the no on Judge and Ohtani.
You get a good payout just because of the brand name bias. And even though they've been atrocious, you're still not getting anything for a return if they go deep. So bet the no on that.
Are we going to get November baseball?
Yes, it's going to happen.
I think we are. Mm-hmm. I think we are. I can't believe that. 1970 Reds, last team, down 0-3 to force a Game 5.
Isn't that something?
That's crazy to me.
I know. So they showed some guts last night. The Dodgers helped them out too with the bad pitching, but you knew right away they didn't have it. So I believe in Cole today.
Rich Gannon up next. Accuracy has always been a big problem for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. Can coaches in Indy fix that?
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Wednesday on Follow the Money, huge show. Rich Gannon and Sal Pal to talk NFL. Matt Humans with picks. The VP of Circa, Mike Palm, and look-ahead lines in the NFL. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. We are live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, every Wednesday at this time. Former NFL MVP Rich Gannon joins the program, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Rich, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Guys, great to be with you. A lot of news and notes from around the NFL. A lot going on before the trade deadline.
Yeah, I'd say a week from yesterday. Your reaction to the story in Indianapolis as Shane Steichen and the organization decided to bench second-year quarterback Anthony Richardson. Joe Flacco is going to be the guy. This has been a big talking point all day long. Steichen was asked about it several times from local media members. When he was asked if the plan is to start Richardson again at all, Steichen said, quote, "I can't predict the future. That'd be great, but we'll see." End of quote. Overall, what is your reaction to what's going on with the Colts?
Well, I think they're going to try to ride this thing out with Joe Flacco. They're 4-4. Flacco gives them the best chance of winning, guys. And you look at Anthony Richardson; he has really struggled, even going back to last season. Here's the thing that I think is a real puzzle for everyone. I mean, he wasn't a very accurate player in the 1 year he played in college.
Yeah.
And then you look at him last year; he struggled with that. Right now, he's completing a league low 44%. Now, I didn't say 52 or 55%. We're talking about 44%. And, you just can't function as an NFL team and an offense when a quarterback isn't very accurate. So he's had a difficult time staying on the field with the injuries. You know about that. His style of play is very different. The conditioning factor, I think, is legit. He's almost 250 pounds. If I were coaching the guy, I'd get him down to 230, 235. He's got to lose some weight. He's got to take better care of himself. He's got to learn how to become a professional. And Joe, think about who they replaced him with. They replaced him with a 39-year-old quarterback in Joe Flacco, who's been on 4 teams since 2021. And I love Joe Flacco. I'm a Delaware Blue man. So I think he gives them the best chance of winning. They're 4-4. And you got to look at job security if you're Shane Steichen. You have a coaching staff to worry about. And at 4-4, you've got a chance. You're good enough. You have a good enough football team with a veteran quarterback to at least make a push and get back in this race. With Anthony Richardson, they had no chance.
A viewer made a good point about Josh Allen. That's the only guy I can think of because it was rough when he started in Buffalo. I don't count what happened in Wyoming because his wide receivers couldn't catch the ball. Can you teach and coach accuracy? I think either you have it or you don't. You would know. What do you think?
Yeah, so Josh's first year, I think he was at 55%. The next year, he jumped up to 63%. I think the third year, he jumped up to 68%. So you certainly can. I think a lot of it has to do with footwork, timing, anticipation, reps in the offseason program. Is he a guy that lives in the city? Is he a guy that's around the facility a lot in the offseason? Here's a guy who was coming back from a shoulder injury. He missed a lot of the offseason program, the OTAs and the mini camps, so that made things even more difficult for him. But you have to work at your craft. And, I don't know where he's at, but what really puzzled me was when a player at that position taps out of a game. That doesn't reflect well on him, his conditioning, and where he's at and where he needs to be. But I think you can get better with accuracy. But a lot of it has to do, guys, when you think about accuracy, a lot of it has to do with understanding, being a master of your domain, totally understanding protections, understanding where you're vulnerable, understanding fronts and coverages, understanding concepts, and piecing all that together and getting the game to slow down. If I could walk up the line of scrimmage and cut the field in half pre-snap and know because of the front, because of the rotation of the secondary, I'm working corner flat to shoot route to the left, that's going to help me become a more accurate player. It's going to help me get my eyes over there sooner rather than later. I think he's got a long ways to go before he's back under center.
Rich, you have been around the sport for many, many years. Can you ever recall a player at that position saying, I'm a little tired, get me out of the game?
I can't, and I can't remember a player standing up at the podium and admitting as much. That's the other thing that's really shocking. I think he's learning. I think he's a raw, inexperienced young player that needs a lot of grooming. And the question is guys, we don't have a lot of patience in our profession. I could give you a list of quarterbacks here that have really struggled, that have been benched in the last couple of years. There's 3 things we're not doing a very good job of. Number one, we're not doing a good enough job identifying who the players are. Right? And then we don't do a good job once we get them into the building, developing them. And I think a lot of teams miss on the recruiting process, whether it's, drafting him or signing him in free agency or trading for a quarterback. We've not done a good job identifying who the talented players are. And then once we get them into our building, can we coach them up? Can we develop them? Can we make them better players? Can we make them a more accurate quarterback? I think there's a there's a real disconnect there between who's calling the plays, who's coaching the player, and who's playing quarterback in our game.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've heard. The biggest takeaway from many people has been you can't pull the plug this quickly on Richardson. I would actually flip it and say, aren't guys like Richardson and Bryce Young getting thrown in there way too soon? Like they're not even close to being ready to play at this point.
No, they're not. And, I was just looking at a list of quarterbacks just this morning, that are going through this. And, I mean, guys, I'll just give you a couple. You look at Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Will Levis, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett. These are all quarterbacks that were taken pretty high in the draft. And you got to start saying to yourself, who's deciding whether or not they're good enough for our program, our team? And then once we get them, are we doing a good job developing them? The problem with a lot of those quarterbacks I just named, they've been drafted, and then the coach gets fired, the coordinator gets fired. We replace the play caller, and they're constantly going backwards. They're never growing and building on what they learned the year before, and that's a big part of the problem as well.
Rich Gannon with us, former NFL MVP, VSiN NFL analyst, Follow the Money, Paulie and Mitch, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. So how about when you're an established quarterback, a good quarterback, but now you're down key weapons? What do you expect out of Stroud now without Nico and with Diggs out for the year?
It's a big challenge, and I think you look at, Dalton Schultz, the tight end's got to step up. Joe Mixon's got to be even more involved in the passing game. Tank Dell's got to do his thing, and the young players that step in have to play well. The challenge that you have if you're C.J. Stroud is that, you're not quite sure, right? Like, I know I've got a lot of history with those other players. We've had a lot of reps in the offseason program. We've had a lot of game reps, live reps. So I know how they're going to behave. I know what they're going to do versus man coverage. I know what they're going to do versus rotation. I've seen them come out of that cut on the 4 route versus that look. But with some of these other guys that we're bringing up from the practice squad or haven't had a lot of reps, I'm not quite sure. And what gets quarterbacks, guys, is indecision. When you have a quarterback that's back there that's ready to pull the trigger and he's got a guy out there that's not quite sure, that's where you get yourself into some trouble. So that's going to be really important for C.J. Stroud against the Jets. They got a good defense. Sauce Gardner, they got some guys that can cover. You have to make sure you see throws, and you can't get fooled with these young receivers.
Very good. What have you seen in the 2 games out of Russell Wilson so far? And if it's been positive from your viewpoint, is it maybe enough for you to sit here halfway through the season and think the Steelers can actually be a contender?
I think you get to be strongly encouraged. I think it's a really good situation. I think they're playing well up front. I think when you look at Najee Harris and even Warren can do in the running game, they're doing a great job moving the pocket. I think Arthur Smith's done a nice job with the play calls to get him out on the edge a little bit, to cut the field in half, to take advantage of his ability to make some plays outside the pocket. And guys, even where he's at now, he still throws maybe the prettiest deep ball in the NFL. He's got great, I think he's gotten better. I think, he a little rusty the first week against the Jets. I think he got better last week. Or this past week in the game. But, I think that the arrow is pointing in the right direction. And as I said, he's in a great situation. He's got one of the best defenses in football. They got one of the best pass rushes in the game. And look at what they're doing in the special teams. You look at the job that they've done with their special teams. They're getting big plays in the kicking game, big returns. They're making big plays. They're blocking kicks. So to me, that's the perfect situation for Russell Wilson.
Who's your coach of the year right now?
There's so many good candidates. I think you look at what Kevin O'Connell has done in Minnesota. That's encouraging. You know what happens with certain coaches that, I always call it the Bill Belichick effect. Like you go 14-2 and you're Bill Belichick, you're not the coach of the year because you got Brady, you got all these great players. I think that happens with some coaches. John Harbaugh falls into that category. I think it's still pretty early to determine who's the coach of the year, but I think there's been some great. I think what Kevin has done with Sam Darnold has been impressive. Now they've lost a couple games. They've got to get it. They got to get it back. They got the Colts this weekend with Joe Flacco coming in, but I think he's done a really nice job managing that situation. And I think there's a lot of coaches that have been outstanding, but certainly when you look at what he has done so far, Andy Reid, guys,
there you go.
He doesn't get enough credit. They're at 7-0 and they're struggling on offense. But Spags and the defense is playing well. Andy Reid falls into that Bill Belichick category. We don't even think of Andy Reid because we just anticipate and expect that it's Andy Reid. Yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win in 13, 14 games.
If they win 15, will he get serious consideration, you think, this year?
Yeah, he will from me. I'm one of those voters.
Yeah.
You're darn right he will. I think the world of Andy. Here's the one thing, guys, we don't get enough credit for. Not only is he a great head coach, I think he's one of the best play callers in the NFL.
Yeah.
When you look at the job that he does, he plugs in different players. They're banged up at running back. They're banged up at wide receiver. They get DeAndre Hopkins. He'll help them along the way at some point. They got Travis Kelce going last week. He had 10 catches. There's no one better right now in the NFL calling plays on offense than Andy Reid.
Yeah. Do you dish out candy tomorrow night?
You know it. And I'm from Pennsylvania, guys, so there'll be a lot of Hershey's in that bag.
Okay.
That's right. Well done.
Rich, as always, a treat talking to you. Thanks so much for the time.
You guys are the best. Thanks.
There you go. Former NFL MVP Rich Gang with the game on. A lot of Hershey's in there.
Yep.
All right.
He does his homework. Well, this is wild because now they're going to they're going to develop him, and he's not playing.
Yeah.
So see how this goes with Richardson and the Colts.
Good answer about the accuracy thing.
Yeah.
I guess it makes some sense. Up next, our weekly look at the best and worst ATS teams in NFL and college football. The list of best teams to the over is surprising to me.
And they're off.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Who would be your coach of the year right now, this minute? You asked Rich Gannon. He brought up O'Connell still.
Boy, that's tough.
Dan Quinn?
Yeah, probably Quinn, but I'm going to go strong. And full disclosure, I have Andy Reid 25-1. I'm going to go strong for Reid if they win 14 or 15.
But you have to.
Yes, have to. But what Quinn's done, and especially how the defense has played lately, great. But you got to give Kingsbury a lot of credit, too.
Oh, you do. You do.
It's a good race.
All right, here you go. It's Tomlin.
That's right.
Live and kicking.
They can get 11 wins or something like that, no doubt.
How about Sean Payton? Did they win 10 games?
That's another one. Yep.
Rookie quarterback. Here is your weekly look at the best and worst teams in the NFL and college football against the spread and also with totals. The Colts are the best team in the NFL. They're 7-1. Every game, 6 points or fewer.
I give them full marks, by the way, what they're doing. How many organizations would do this? They are saying he's not getting it done. We have a capable backup. We watched what went on last year in Cleveland. We're pulling the plug on the guy for the season, and we have a chance to go to the playoffs, and we're putting him, the veteran, in.
All that is accurate, right? They
strong move.
As Gannon said moments ago, they cannot make the playoffs with Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely a path with Joe Flacco. The Lions are 6-1, laying big numbers, by the way, and they're covering on average by 9.4 points per game. Amazing. Commanders, 6-1-1, covering by the same number. Broncos and Steelers are 6-2. Vikings and Chiefs, there you go, 5-2 against the spread. The worst teams in the NFL. ATS to this point. Panthers are 1-7, missing big numbers, by the way, on average by 11.9 points per game. What do you do this week?
I'm going to play the Saints if it's Carr against Young.
Just got a message from our buddy Scotty Tribuco. Tough Survivor Week. His number one play is New Orleans.
He's going to do it.
That's what it's tough, he said. He ranked them in order, but that was number one on his list.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. They've lost 6 straight. They've been outscored by like 100-plus points in that span.
I know. I'd rather look maybe at Cincinnati, Baltimore, but it's a great discussion.
Miami's 1-6, missing on average by 9.8 points per game. I will break this down a little bit later on for you in my weekly look-ahead story that I write at VSiN.com. They get the Bills this week. It has not gone well for Miami with Tunga Viola as the quarterback against Buffalo. The Titans are 1-6 against the spread. Yikes.
It's up to 3.5 now.
Oh, there you go.
More Titans money.
Yeah. I think it might go to 4.
Okay.
Jets are 2-6. Cowboys 2-5. Patriots 2-5-1. Seahawks 2-5-1. Rams are 2-5. So the Rams and Seahawks, two of the worst teams in football, they play this week. Rams taking a lot of money in that game. Makes sense, getting healthier, getting better by the week on offense. The best teams to the over. The Ravens are 7-1, going over by 9.1 points per game. They can't make them high enough so far. Buccaneers 6-2, on average, getting there by 10.7 points per week. Carolina 6-2 to the over. I was surprised to see them on the list this high. On average by 6.4 points per game. Horrendous defense. And allowing a ton of points. Cowboys are 5-2 over. Titans 4-2-1 to the over. Here you go with the best teams in the NFL to the under on the season. Chargers are 6-1 under. On average, staying there by 8.2 points per game. The Giants and Texans are 6-2 under. Dolphins 5-2. Browns 5-3. Colts 5-3 to the under.
And the Giants, 10 of their last 12 at home have gone under. 7 of those 12, they haven't scored more than 10 points. Another reason why I like the under coming up Sunday. With all 4 major sports in action, the sports equinox is upon us once again. Celebrate the best time of the year for sports bettors with our new Sports Equinox special, full VSiN Pro access, everything we do through May 1st, every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the betting systems from Mackinnon, less than $20 a month. Don't miss this great offer, limited time, VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up now, VSiN.com/subscribe.
We got you covered on a weekly basis at this point. You got to find 5 games for contest plays in the NFL. You got to find angles to bet with college football. I sweat out Survivor every single day of my life. I think about it way too much. Then we have NBA props and games to now analyze every single night. First period totals in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
And my brother's texting me nonstop about college basketball last night.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, lots of space in the brain to do it on your own here in October and November. Best teams against the spread in college. Army, 6-0-1.
Yet to trail.
Covering on average by 12.5 points per game.
Yep, Indiana, too.
Indiana, 7-1. BYU, 7-1. Both teams covering by more than 2 touchdowns every week. I said Indiana yesterday, best story in college football. You can push back and give me Army if you'd like.
Yeah.
But BYU's right there with them.
Yeah. Well, they picked at the bottom by the media.
Yeah, 13th, I think.
What did I see today at DraftKings? Trying to find it. I think, here it is. Plus 250 to go undefeated, BYU. It might be a little juicy. Iowa State plus 250, Indiana 10-1. Of course, they got Ohio State coming up.
I definitely loaded up on the wrong team from Utah this year to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh is 6-1, covering by 10.4 points per week. Minnesota, 6-1-1. Western Kentucky, 6-1. They played tonight, laying a huge number.
I think they'll bury Kennesaw.
I don't blame you for saying that. Marshall also 6-1 against the spread. The worst teams in college football, ATS. Air Force, 0-7. How the mighty have fallen. Missing the cover on average by 11.7 points per game.
They were good last year.
Yeah.
They go on the chance to go undefeated. Oh, bad.
Arizona 1-7, missing on average by 12 points per game. Are they missing their coach at all?
I like Brennan. It hasn't worked out. Well, certainly they're Miss Fish, but Brennan did an incredible job at San Jose State. I'm shocked by this.
In the state of North Carolina, State and the Tar Heels 1-6-1 against the spread. Liberty 1-5, missing by 13.6 points per game. Doesn't help when you are laying 7 last week to Kennesaw and you lost outright? Was it that high?
Yep.
20? Okay.
Yep.
And Georgia State 1-5-1 ATS, missing by 5 points per game. Best teams are the over in college football. Navy 7-0, getting there by 16 points per game. North Texas, Ball State, Iowa, and Maryland, all 7-1 to the over.
Iowa.
I know, of course, right? Flips this year. And Miami 6-1-1 to the over, going over by 11.1 points per game. It would help out if I was playing these teams on a weekly basis, too.
I went and like the unders. Houston just played Utah. 7-1 to the under.
Each of them.
Uh-huh.
Ole Miss 7-1 under. That's under the radar. They were supposed to be this high-flying team, ton of points, maybe defense, a little questionable. Not the case. And FSU 7-1 to the under as well.
All right, excellent. NFL team totals: Minnesota 6-1 to the over, Seattle 6-2, Washington 6-2, Miami 6-1 to the under, Cleveland 7-1 to the under.
7-1 under.
Finally got there with what happened last week and scored some points. Great job by Chris Otto and the guys, Mr. Duncan. NHL numbers: goal in the first 10 at home. Chicago 4-0, Montreal 6-1, VGK 6-1 overall. Vegas 8-2 on the season. Road games: goal in the first 10. Blues 5-1, Rangers 4-1. Vegas should be 9-1 on the season, but the first period over. That was tough. They beat the other night.
How are you finding the new time slot for us now? It's about 2 months in.
It's a whole different world, whole different life. Watch games at night. NBA's a perfect example. All the props you have. When we were doing the morning show, we didn't have lines. You certainly didn't have
numbers
props.
Won't be out.
No numbers, nothing. You don't know who's going to play. You break down a game. A couple hours later, whoop, he's out.
Yep.
So this is just awesome now with hockey and NBA, and certainly what you can talk about in the props in the NBA. And I thought the viewers did a great job yesterday with some of the stuff they sent in too.
It wasn't that long ago that we were doing mornings for 7 consecutive years here, and rarely in that show would we have like an NBA player prop, mostly because numbers would not be out. And then staying up late to watch games until 10:30 on the West Coast wasn't happening. We were doing 4 to 7 local time, in the Pacific time zone. So it was tough to even stay up and watch those games. And then when you get home, you're dragging a little bit and you're thinking, the last thing I want to do right now is look at player props for tonight. You're tired. You want to get a nap, whatever. Now I got games on every single night. I got the package on YouTube so you can have 4 games up on one screen at a time. Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal here with the NBA.
Been a great start to the season, no doubt.
I will tell you this. What's the angle with the Nuggets here? Other than playing their updated win total under, which is still 49.5, is it to miss the playoffs entirely? They were so fortunate again.
It's a second night in a row. A team had to miss free throws for them to come back, survive, send it to overtime where they win.
Yep.
And again, they can't cover. So blown out by the Clippers, should have lost to the Raptors, who are awful, and should have lost to the Nets, whose win total's under 20.
They're not a good basketball team.
You finally got something out of Westbrook, but I am
alarmed.
That's aggressive, but in the West, I'm not going to call you crazy to think it's that bad. The other thing is Joker becoming a gunner now. I mean, he was taking a lot of threes, too. Made a ton of threes in that Clipper game.
When he comes out right away after the first game and basically says, who else can do, who do we have to shoot the ball? Doesn't that kind of tell you that? And I know his game last night overall was just stupid, how good it was with the rebounds and the assists. At some point, doesn't he have to say, I'm taking 10 threes a game? I'm the best shooter on the team?
Yeah.
I got to be that guy now?
And Minnesota can't beat Dallas.
No,
Dallas has their number.
Oh, boy.
There's Ant. There you go with your props. Ant with 24 in the first quarter.
Yep. All right. Win-lose up next. So we will expand on the NBA card for tonight. I have to ride the hot hand of this sharpshooter.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fans, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, World Series Game 4, he did it again. First home run, Freeman 12-1 at Caesars. Anytime home run, 6-1. Torres goes deep, 8-1. Likewise, Wells, who almost hit 2. Smith was 7-1. And Volpe plus 750. Also, Volpe with the grand slam, 10-1. It's the second time in World Series history that each team has hit a grand slam.
So no longer a bad beat now in the grand slam for the series.
Right, yeah, absolutely. First baskets, Edwards 5-1. Johnson 7-1. Sabonis 5-1. NBA first basket on X. We've had him on the show. Remember, you were big into Miles Turner.
The Pacers, yeah.
Right, with the jump ball. DraftKings has switched from being a first field goal book to a first point book, meaning free throws are now included. They're the same as FanDuel now. DraftKings does offer first field goal only in exact market only. They switched it up after 4 years.
So then be careful which market you're betting into,
right.
Obviously.
Yep, so those cashed last night, and Kings 4.5 up to 6.5. Had no problem there. And the Sharks plus 270. Beat the Kings. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Like Mitch said yesterday, this has been great the last 7 years. Squirrel videos, hippos, dogs. People were... We got a big problem with people with the shoes off, too. Airline. This is Remy, a Jenga legend. Look at the dog coming in. He goes for the bottom, and I'm going to get this. No problem with the mouth. I'm going to go to the bottom and grab the piece, and I'm the winner. And it's still, yeah, I got it.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Right, and then off he goes. Yeah, I did it. See, I'm taking it. That's my toy. How he's able to do that, that is incredible. He is a legend. And everyone's stunned. Everyone, like 6 people gathered around playing Jenga, and the dog Remy comes in. Oh, yeah, watch this. Got it?
Now, where's my treat?
Yeah, right. This is a unique move and an odd move. He's just coming in the French Bulldog. This is how he wants to play. He's just going to go roll over and somersaults and run into everybody like it's professional wrestling.
I was going to say, who was the wrestler? Was it Doink? There was a professional wrestler who would do this.
Really?
Yes.
He just comes in, he starts jumping on people and rolling over on them, and that's his move. He doesn't want to come up and like smell you or say, hey, how you doing? He's just rolling into everybody. Look at the other. He doesn't know what to make of it, the one guy.
Some dogs stop short. This dog's rolling all over the place.
Yep, couldn't get there. This was big for the win total, but I wasn't the only one who bet New Mexico State from 10 down to 7, and the total 47.5 down to 43.5, 7-6 at halftime.
Yep. Then
the kid from New Mexico State hit a 56-yarder. And then it exploded, and New Mexico State loses. Mavs T-Wolves under 225.5, down to 220. There you go. Always something going on with win-lose and so many things to bet. Jeff Siegel will be on the show coming up Friday with the Breeders' Cup. Bet Horse Racing's premier year-end event, the Breeders' Cup, Friday and Saturday with First Bet. Sign up, firstbet.com, promo code VSiN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Firstbet.com, promo code VSiN200. Get it now.
Okay, so it is a loaded NBA card tonight. The Lakers are playing in Cleveland. This is a really good basketball game.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, down to I saw 14-1 to win the MVP at one book. So any thought of like grabbing that huge 100-1 that was out there like 3 or 4 days ago, bye-bye. That's long gone. Cavaliers lane 5 in this spot. You know, there's talk here. LeBron, how many more games does he have back in Cleveland before he calls it quits? Bronny made the road trip. They're talking about it on ESPN today, not that long ago. Is he going to get in the game tonight? The props are back up for this kid now. Will he score? If he does, the prop is like 1.5.
What do you think?
I mean, he's going to. I'm convinced.
I got everything here.
He's getting playing time tonight.
Yep. $1.15 to score, go over 1.5. Minus 230 to get a rebound.
Is he going to play enough to grab a rebound though?
A made 3 is only plus 160. Come on. I want the no on that.
You know what? He will get an attempt tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Probably 2 rebounds plus 170. A 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3-1. 2 made 3s plus 650. The other thing is, what does Dad do? You know, Dad was awesome against Sacramento in the fourth quarter where he made like 10 straight shots. And yelling at Hachimura, hey, swing it, I'm a hot. And then was terrible against the Suns. I think he's got to go over 23.5 tonight.
Yeah, that number.
LeBron going home, coming off a bad performance, yeah.
Yeah, that number moved actually today. It was 22.5 earlier, so people have been betting him. And surprise, surprise, he has a really good history in games back in Cleveland.
I think it's too high. I love this Laker team and what Redick's done. The Lakers are third in pace. Cavs are number one in scoring, though. But then you point to the bad teams they played thus far, though. They just came off the big road win against the Knicks. So I bet them to win the division. They're going to win the division. I'm confident. It's a good price, $1.25. Mobley continues to improve. Remember, they were a good team last year, and then they had injuries. So what they were doing. But a great game tonight. I would take the 5. And again, I know Redick was ticked off that they blew that big lead against the Suns and lost, but two good teams here.
LeBron has scored at least 21 points in every game back in Cleveland since he left. And it's 22.5 or 23.5 tonight.
AD over again, 27.5, leading the league in scoring?
Well, I'm a little afraid that if you're going to bet every player over, that's going to be a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? If you want, because I think LeBron's the guy that you want to go to war with tonight. Based on the history here, he's going to be playing like Bronny's going to get some run, and how meaningful this is to LeBron overall.
I don't mind Russell under 2.5 made threes.
Now, he was questionable before. Now I think he's going to play actually today.
Atrocious shot selection in the fourth quarter against Phoenix. That one's tough. What else do you think?
Okay.
Great card.
Celtics are playing at the Pacers. To me, Boston's must-watch television.
Yes.
Here's my angle in the game. Now, Sam Hauser's back, so that's going to, in theory, cut into the playing time overall from Peyton Pritchard. But for those of you who are not paying attention to the NBA yet, let me tell you about Peyton Pritchard this season alone. His threes by game did not start off very hot. He was 1 for 10 in the first game. Since then, 5 for 11, 5 for 8, 10 for 14. So he's averaging 4.6 made threes per game on 9.5 attempts. He also shot 21 threes in the final 2 preseason games. He made 10 of them. I bet over 2.5. I still think he's going to get his looks tonight. And by the way, it's the Pacers, so it's a total of 235. You figure that there's going to be plenty of points scored in this game and opportunities. Oh, by the way, there might be a blowout factor where he still gets run. So he'll take his threes. And I have to hit 3. 2.5 was over plus 106 earlier today. I had to bet that.
I like White over, too. They're going to shoot 43s.
Oh, easily.
So
easily.
Yeah. I'm looking at, I'm going to bet the Hawks. Now, here we go again, right? They were one of the worst teams in NBA history last year, ATS. They're 0-4 against the spread. They're 4-0 to the over. They're laying 4.5 at Washington, no Kuzma. 233.5 is the total.
No Kuzma.
If they can't win this game, plus Washington's off a win. So I would think Atlanta should be able to get this as well. And Young's been dishing it out with the assists lately. You have that. And then the one, I think this is where you were going, odd scheduling spot, Pelicans and Warriors again. Warriors, big comeback last night. Again, Kerr played 13 guys in the win. Golden State laying 2.5 after being underdogs yesterday. It's everything Buddy Hield for me. The one time he went under his props because he was 1 of 10 from 3. Yeah. He couldn't make anything. So he did it again where he's taken so many shots, they're going in, and the majority of his shots are 3-pointers.
I've played him 3 times so far this year, over 2-1. I was also on him in that game that he took plenty of threes, just going to make one. Did not play him last night because I didn't know it was going to look like that, obviously. But they're going to be okay with him taking 20 shots if need be. There's an angle here. For those of you who can do same-game parlays, here's my breakdown on the Spurs-Thunder game. The Spurs have allowed 9, 10, and 6 steals in the 3 games they played so far this year. Eason and Van Vliet went over 1.5 in each game. Sengun did it in one of them. Kyrie and Clay each did it in the first game this year that they played the Spurs, going over 1.5 steals. OKC steals by game, 9, 15, and 13. So when I tell you here over and over that they're the best team defensively in basketball, it's like we're not fooling around here. They are ridiculous on that side of the ball, and SGA has stolen the ball 3, 4, and 2 times in order so far. I would love to be able to do a same-game parlay of SGA over 1.5 steals and OKC to win the game. I am not able to do. If you can do that in your jurisdiction, I would highly recommend that. I can parlay SGA over 1.5 made threes and the Thunder to win, but I can't parlay his steals in the win.
Okay, how about Chet stuff?
3.5
steals and blocks, 2.5 blocks. And also, I think he's second in rebounds.
I think the steals and blocks combo might be the way for him to go every single game.
Yeah, it's a lot of points. They're awesome. But I also think it's a big ask for Wemby to get to 25 tonight.
So do I.
Again, they're off to a slow start, and he's off to a slow start just like last year. And I don't understand why Chris Paul shouldn't be getting 7-8 assists a night, too.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. If anything, I'm betting Wemby under points again tonight.
Yeah.
Not getting there with that number. The great Sal Palantonio from ESPN joins the program up next. We'll find out who he's hot and heavy on this week in the NFL.
It's that magical time of year, the sports equinox, when all 4 major sports are in action.